Alright guys, it's time for tax prep part 2. So, when last we left our heroes, we were putting in the personal information for Joey Wallace, who is not a real person, just letting you know. So we're going to put in a fake social security number. And you want to choose the occupation. So look through this list. If you don't see one that applies to you, you click on Other. And then you just type in some. So I'm going to put in AmeriCorps. That's what I am, and we'll pretend that's what Joey Wallace is. So, date of birth. I hope you know your date of birth. So we're gonna put in 1975. Whoop. All right. And then whenever you're ready to move on, you just click on this next button. Confirm personal information. Looking good. All right. So you would look through these, and you would check any that apply. So hopefully none of you are blind or disabled. I'm sorry if you are, but if you died last year, this is where you put it. That's actually for people filing jointly if they a spouse died, so it's kind of sad. But just look through these. If you're a student, it'll ask you if you're a full-time student or not, or if you can be claimed as dependent. So take a look. Alright, so just create an address. Hopefully we all know where we live. So we're going to say Joey Wallace lives on Awesome Street, Kansas City, Missouri, 64111. And then phone number. This is a fake phone number. And you could not have letters in your phone number. It's good to know. So residency. This trips people up a little bit, but it's not too bad. So, pick the state you lived in, and then you can be a resident, a part-year resident, or a non-year resident. So if you lived there the whole year, it's pretty easy. You're just a resident. If you, let's pretend that you lived in Missouri but worked in Kansas, and you didn't live in Kansas at all, then you would apply to Kansas as a non-resident and Missouri as a resident. We aren't going to do that for Joey Wallace, though. We're just going to do resident of Missouri. And part of your resident is if you live there part of the year. So it's like over 2 months or so. And then move on. It just likes to check with you, make sure that everything's correct. Okay, this is where you would add dependents. So poor Joey Wallace is going to be a single father today. So his son is going to be Brian Wallace. And making up another social security number. Date of birth. Hopefully you know your son's date of birth. And for little Brian Wallace, we're going to do 2000. Relationship. This is where you're going to put in how you relate to him. So little Brian Wallace is going to be Joey Wallace's son. Let me correct the social security number here. You definitely want to get that right. So it asks you to confirm the information, and then there's just a screen here which says claim as dependent. So, and just remember, if you want to add another dependent, you always just click on this button which says add dependent. Alright, so we're going to get started on the income section. So I know this looks intimidating, but don't worry, no one's going to need all of these forms unless you're like creating the super return and you have a ton of stocks and you rent out your house and everything. So I'll just run through the basics here. Employment wages, that's going to apply to most people. That's your W-2. So if you had a job last year, they'll probably send that to you in the mail. State and local refunds, this messes people up a little bit. If you don't know it, if you're never sure about any of these, you can always click on learn more and this handy little box pops up. But that's just state refunds, not the federal refund. That doesn't matter. But the state refund you might have gotten last year. If you have to worry about it, the state should have sent you a form about it. But if you just know the amount, that's good. So it probably won't affect your taxes too much. Don't panic about it. This is where you put unemployment, interest for bank accounts and stuff, and they should have sent you a form. Either of these should have sent you a form. And we will pick this up in part 3. So stay tuned.